Now, any Judaism worth anything has to have some kind of an answer to these three things, whether it's Orthodox. I mean, that's why we have different divisions, because of different responses to these changes, to these traumas. So what I can say is after about 6 months or 7 months, there emerged a series of answers out of our common discussion. And let me share them with you, because they serve as the foundation of humanistic Judaism. And they're answers that found echoes, in a sense, in the discussions and experiences of other people and other communities who were also engaged in that discussion. The first, the answer to the age of science, whatever it was, our answer was, it was quite clear to us that we did not accept traditional faith as a method for the discovery of truth. It wasn't part of our life. We didn't operate that way. We were now addicted to something which in some way is sometimes called reason. At its most refined form, you might call the scientific method. Whatever it is, or on the lowest level, it's called common sense. It simply says, if you make a statement about reality, you better have some facts to back up your statement. Not a big deal, right? And so therefore, no person, no authority, no ancient sage was beyond this test. You couldn't get up and con us by the Moses said it. We're glad that Moses said it. Where's the evidence to back up the statement? We're delighted Jeremiah made the statement, but he might be wrong. He was human. And accepting that changed our attitude toward how we were going to view Jewish literature. See, I grew up with an idea that there was Jewish literature and then there was a book called the Torah. The Torah was an icon. It was placed in a box, not like regular library books. And in fact, Jews always used to make fun of the fact that other people had idols, but we had none. And I always found, I said, well, I'm not so sure. We have a box. And in the box is something you kiss it and you take it out and you hug it and you raise it and you praise it, and I mean all this. I mean, it's not an ordinary book. So I still remember this whole ritual. And you take out the book and then you open it up and then they read from it. And I remember my discomfort always as a Reform rabbi was we would read from the Torah. It was quite clear that almost all of the people sitting in front of the reading led lives that had nothing at all to do with the document. They were, the whole thing. That didn't mean the document was totally invalid. It simply meant there was a separation. We decided from the very beginning that we liked the Torah. It was a good Jewish book. It was the oldest Jewish book around. It had some good advice. It had some rotten advice, especially on feminist issues. But it's it was a mixture. There were some statements that were true, there were some statements that were false, and that it was written by human beings, and it was part of Jewish literature, and it should be respected, studied, understood, but it was literature, like any other literature. And therefore we weren't going to put it in a big box, and raise it up, and elevate it, and praise it, and say this is the most important book ever written in the history of humankind, and all wisdom is contained in it. But we would put it in our library, where people can read it and study it. And that we would then view the whole creation, the whole literary creation of the Jewish people as worthy of our attention. Which meant, one of the consequences was that just because something was written 10 years ago in Hebrew or Yiddish or whatever, or even English, doesn't mean that it's less valuable than something written 3,000 years ago.